What's up? It's Jan, back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. Today we're doing my July wrap up. I don't know why I take so many long pauses, like I'm so dramatic. Why? Disclaimer, if you hear some like power tools going on in the background, it's out of my control. There's something going on outside my door. Got my handy dandy Stitch mug. We know the drill. It is going to be a wrap up in the form of the reread, rewrite, burn tag. I've been doing this since January. It's more fun for me to do my wrap ups this way instead of just like showing the book and talking about it, because my thoughts are always incoherent anyway, so might as well make a game out of it, you know, to distract from the lack of brain cells. There we go. There are the power tools. I need to get my bullet journal, reading journal thing, so I could use it as a reference because I forget everything. Okay, if you don't know what the reread, rewrite, burn tag is or game is, I just have all the books I read in July in this on little scraps of paper, and I pull out 3 at a time and I choose whether I'd reread it, rewrite it, or burn it. I like doing it this way because it's random and like it doesn't match up with my star ratings usually, if that makes sense. But yeah, okay, so I feel like I have to say all of this in the beginning of all my wrap-ups. So I usually start with my stats for the month. I read 16 books in July. I read a total of 3,470 pages. I don't count audiobook pages just because I keep track of my pages daily, and converting percentages to pages is just too much for me to handle, and on a daily basis it's just too much, okay? And I read too many books at once, and these are physical pages. That is the bottom line. Number of Chicago appearances, 5. So I keep track of every time Chicago is mentioned because I'm from Chicago and I hate when Chicago is mentioned. I hate Chicago, and it's literally, like, if you know me, you know this. It just like, it haunts me, and a lot of books I read mention Chicago. So I started keeping track of it this year. Number of BIPOC authors, also 5. Best book I read in July was 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Oh my god, y'all. This I picked up just randomly and started it randomly at work, and I'm looking at it right now. It's such a beautiful book about 2 authors. There's a second chance romance. It's my favorite romance trope, and it just has a little bit of everything. It has humor, it has mental health rep, it has some like mystery in there as well, and there's like a woman going through it, there's a guy dealing with mental health issues as well, and it's just so freaking good. It discusses the issues Black authors go through in the publishing industry, and it's so good. Please read it. It was such an unexpected new favorite. Definitely my top 10 of 2021. God, I can't wait to narrow down that list. Like, I just want to see how long it takes me, you know? The worst book I read in July was The Henna Wars. I don't remember the author's name. I know she has a really long last name. Here's the cover. I gave that one, oh, obviously I gave 7 Days in June 5 stars. I gave The Henna Wars 2 stars. I listened to it only on audio. The characters just fell flat for me. I felt bad. I was talking to Kevin from Irish Reader because he loved that book and he was so excited that I picked it up. I was gonna pick it up for Sapphic-a-thon, but then it came late through Libby, and I told him that I gave it 2 stars. I'm sorry. It was a little bit too YA for me, and like the love interest was just not interesting to me at all, and the whole like high school project situation wasn't my thing. Was not my thing. I don't even know why I gave it 2 stars and not 1. Maybe I was feeling nice that day. I mean, it was like a cute story, just I wasn't gripped. Like, I didn't really care. It was just like fine, you know? I did not read a classic this month. I did not read a 500+ page book, and I did not read a buzzword-a-thon book. The buzzword for last month for Books and Lala's buzzword-a-thon was the word last, and I was gonna read The Last Story of Mina Lee or The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. I ended up not reading either. I'm actually filming my Riley Sager vlog. Like, I started it today and it's the end of August, so that's great. And The Last Story of Mina Lee was gonna be for my Jesse's Sad Book Hours video, but you know, I just didn't get to it because I visited them and I didn't feel like reading a sad book. I did read one of the books that made them cry this month, so it's all good. Anyway, okay, let us begin, shall we? The first weekend of July was Sapphic-a-thon, which is a monthly readathon now that Jesse and I host, and we have a revolving co-host as well. Yeah, and the dates vary every month, and it's just a 24-hour readathon where we read sapphic books. And that started in July, and then also immediately after and during Sapphic-a-thon was also summer summer ween. I read some audiobooks. I read a couple nonfiction books. It was an alright reading month. You know, I didn't finish my TBR, but books left on July TBR, 9 out of 16. Whatever, it could be worse, I guess. Okay, here are the first 3. The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Oh, by the way, I was like writing these titles down on sticky notes and I can't remember a lot of these authors for the life of me, so bear with me. I can't be bothered to look them up. Right now my phone's charging, so I can't. But I'll say the ones that I do remember, otherwise the cover will be here with the author's name. Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and The Henna Wars. Okay, so we all know I'm gonna burn The Henna Wars. Sorry, already talked about her. Forever Interrupted I would reread for sure. This was my book club pick for my full moon book club. All the details are always linked down below in all my videos. There's a Google form. It's not required, but it gives me some information about you that I would love to know, so I could get to know y'all better when we chat in the live discussions on every full moon of every month. On the full moon of every month. Yeah, Forever Interrupted made me sob on page 6. Page 6. I cried at a coffee shop in public. So page 6 is when the husband dies, right? And they were only married for a couple weeks and they only knew each other for like 6 months. So the whole book is a series of flashbacks and present tense, like back and forth, about the wife, what's her name? Elsie? Was it Elsie? It was Elsie. Oh my god, Elsie and Ben. So Ben dies and it was a really sad, like relatable, not relatable, but like a sad moment and relatable because I always used to ask my ex to like go out and do the thing that the guy did when he died in the book. So I was just like really emotional, like thinking about it all the time. The whole thing was just so sad. It was her dealing with grief. It was about her best friend helping her, and like she worked at a library like me, and she and I are so similar. This Elsie Porter person in this book, it was actually scary at some points. So yeah, I would reread it for sure. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's my favorite author of all time. I picked it for my book club pick because she's my favorite author of all time, and that was the only book I haven't read by her yet, besides her newest one, which now I have read and I didn't like, spoiler alert. But this was her debut, and if I didn't know it was her debut, I would have believed you if you told me it was like her newest release. Like, I loved this book. And the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires I would rewrite to make it a little bit shorter, to cut down all the like unnecessary parts. There were you know what I would cut down? The parts where the main character, don't even remember her name, was trying to convince her friends and everyone around her that she's not crazy, that she's telling the truth, that she has all these suspicions about this creepy ass guy. There was also that dreaded rat scene that everyone was telling me not to read, but I vlogged anyway. I'll have the link down below. It was pretty entertaining. I did it for the vlog, as one says. Honestly, it was a pretty fun time to see how grossed out I could actually get. I mean, if it were me, I would just omit that whole scene. Next 3. I feel like this is the most elaborate I've ever gone into my wrap up this year. I don't know, I'm just feeling chatty today. So I have My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which I also read for summer ween. Finley Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. I think that's her last name. Felix Ever After by Case and Calendar. Look at me remembering names. Okay, I would burn. Sorry, burn is always the easiest one to do. Finley Donovan is Killing It, I'd probably burn. Not the power tools. This was my first buddy read with Jessie, our first planned buddy read, but we ended up buddy reading Tokyo Ever After before this one. And like, it was funny at first. It was exactly what you would expect from what you hear about this book from booktube and bookstagram and stuff. It's about this girl who is at Panera and she's an author, and her like agent or editor or whatever was talking to her about like her next book and like the murder in the book and everything, and then this girl overhears their conversation and hires Finley Donovan as her hitman for her husband. And I am so sorry about this noise. We're just gonna ignore it and just listen to me. Just focus on my voice. Towards the end, it got really dragged out, I feel like. And then it wasn't what you would expect from this book. It was just like I didn't come here for, you know, your background and whatever. I came here for a good time, not a long time. Definitely felt like a long time reading this book. I don't know. So I would burn Finley Donovan. I would reread Felix Ever After. First of all, I wouldn't want to say anything else because I'd probably get canceled because this is a booktube darling. But I listened to Felix Ever After fully on audio, and I feel like if I read it physically a second time, I would love to highlight a bunch of quotes throughout and I would love the physical copy, like the paperback with like the stenciled edges. I gave Felix Ever After 4 stars. It was a cute time. I wasn't saying star ratings. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Okay, well, at least I'm only like a couple behind. You know, I gave 5 stars to Forever Interrupted. Southern Book Club's Guide, I gave 3 stars. Finley Donovan, I also gave 3 stars. My Best Friend's Exorcism, I would rewrite. Holy shit, that tapeworm scene still bothers me to this day if I think about it hard enough. I just didn't enjoy this as much as a lot of my friends did. Like, I loved the literal last page when they talked about the 2 girls' friendship years and years later. That was really nice. That was really cute to read about. But like the whole premise, I want to like pinpoint how I was feeling reading it, but I can't. Y'all are just gonna have to watch my Summerween vlog where I talk about it in like real time. I'll have that link down below, but I gave My Best Friend's Exorcism 3 stars. I don't even know how I'd rewrite it. Like, the most memorable scene was the tapeworm scene because it was so gross. And like, I don't want to say I'd make it less gross because that's the point of horror. Oh, I'd take out the animal abuse scene. Couldn't do it. Could not do it. I would omit that completely. Here's the next set of books. Hide and Seeker by, was it Dana Henkin? Am I making that up completely? I don't know, but this is a middle grade horror book. I gave that one 4 stars. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg, I gave 4 stars. And A Map to the Sun by Sloan Leong, I also gave 4 stars. Okay, I would, oh no, I don't know what I would burn. Okay, no, hold on. I would burn The Power of Habit because I've read it once. There are so many books about habits out there that I could read. I don't need to reread this. I listened to it on audio. It did have really good information, especially like the marketing tactics of Target and like big retail companies. There was some talk about like night terrors too and sleepwalking and stuff, and then there was like this guy who got brain damage, but because of like habitual activities, he was still able to like function. It was a good read. I read an excerpt of it for a college class a few years ago. I'm glad I read the whole thing, but I would burn it. I would reread Hide and Seeker because that was a really good time. It took a little while for me to get into because it is a middle grade. I don't know. I don't read many middle grades at all. I want to give them more chances. I own 3 of them that I have yet to read, but this one ended up being really good. I got really into it once I actually sat down and binged it. This one's about a kid who got lost in the woods and then he came back and he wasn't the same, and like his friends all try to figure out what went on, and then there's this like creature called the Seeker and he like shows you your biggest fears, and then there's this place called Nowhere. It was very atmospheric and actually pretty scary once you think about like your biggest fear and if that was presented to you in the intense ways that these kids were shown their biggest fears. Yeah, I would reread that. And then I would rewrite A Map to the Sun. I would actually redraw A Map to the Sun to make the characters more distinct. Some of them. There were a couple that I kept getting mixed up. A Map to the Sun did make me cry. This was the book that I read for Jesse's Sad Book Hours vlog. I'll have that linked down below as well. It's a graphic novel, so this book, that's why I said draw. I didn't even mention it was a graphic novel. Oh my god. But they said this made them cry, and it definitely did make me cry towards the end. I did love the art style though, and I love the color palette. I believe it was set in LA. I enjoyed it. Time to pick the next 3. The Art of Taking It Easy. I forgot the author's name, but that's a nonfiction self-improvement book about like stress and stuff, and I gave that one 4 stars. Written in the Stars by Alexandra Bellafleur. Sorry, like my French accent be rusty. I read this one for Sapphicathon as an audiobook, and I gave that one 3 stars. The Scapegracers I also read for Sapphicathon, and I gave that one 4 stars. I would burn Written in the Stars. I really want to read the second book though. I've heard good things about it. This one was a female romance. Obviously, I read it for Sapphicathon. I really liked the astrology aspect of this book. This girl ran was it a podcast or just like a website or something about astrology? The other girl just didn't get it, and like it's kind of like a hate to love situation, and it talks about like family acceptance in terms of like your passions and everything, so that was relatable in that sense, but I would burn that. I wouldn't reread it. book ever again. I'd read the second one though. I think it follows one of the main character's brother or something. I don't remember, honestly. I would reread The Scapegracers by Hannah something. Oh my god, I can't read. Hannah Abigail Clark. I loved this book. I thought it was so funny. I tabbed the living shit out of it. I didn't know what to expect going into this. I knew it was about lesbian witches. I loved it. I loved the dynamic of the friend group and how it talked about the coven, and like the humor in it was really good. Yeah, I would reread this. And then The Art of Taking It Easy I would rewrite to just like get to the point faster. There was a lot of repetition. I'll never look at traffic and bears the same way after reading this book. Just gonna keep on moving along. Why do I only have 3 left? Didn't I read 16 books? I might have missed one or something. If I read 16 books, I should have an extra one as a wild card, right? We will figure it out. Okay, so For Your Own Good by Samantha Downing. Follow Me to Ground by Sue Rainsford. Would have bothered me if I didn't just look. And then 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. Obviously, I'd reread 7 Days in June. Already talked about it. For Your Own Good, I would burn. Samantha Downing wrote one of my favorite thrillers of all time, which is My Lovely Wife, and I had high hopes for her 3rd book. Her 2nd book was awful. I hated it. I gave it 1 star. Called He Started It. Don't read it. Don't start it. Yeah, this one was like dark academia, and like I did enjoy it more than He Started It, but it still was like, it wasn't slow in terms of like me reading it because the chapters were crazy short. Ew, why did I say it like that? There were like too many characters, but also I know that was the kind of the point with like the red herrings and everything, but there was something about it that was just missing. I'll have my vlog linked down below of me reading it. And then Follow Me to Ground, I would rewrite. I mean, I would reread it also, just wouldn't burn it. I would rewrite it. Honestly, it was such a good, I gave For Your Own Good 3 stars, by the way, and I gave Follow Me to Ground 4 stars. So this is like a weird book. Like if you like Bunny, definitely read this book. If you like, honestly, even if you like The Dowry of Blood, I would read this book. Okay, I would rewrite it to make it talk less about pregnancy because we all know how Jan feels about pregnancy talk. I figured out which book I didn't make a sticky note for, and it was Odd Spirits by S.T. Gibson, which was the author of A Dowry of Blood. I gave that 3 stars. It's a little novella. It's literally like less than 90 pages. I think it's like 81 or something. And I read and annotated it for Jessie because I have 2 copies, and Hannah from Hannah's Recent Reads got it for me for my birthday, but I already bought it. It was fun annotating it. It was a fun, quick read. It was witchy. What am I gonna do with it though? Reread, rewrite, or burn? I think I would rewrite it. I think it no, I think it should have stayed a novella. I feel like it could have had potential to be a novel. I would rewrite some of the characters' like traits, qualities, actions, personality. Like I liked Moira until she said this really problematic thing, and then like the whole moral of the story about like trust in a relationship, it was just done in such a cheesy, like non-impactful way. I don't know, it was nothing compared to A Dowry of Blood. I think what made it 3 stars for me is the fact that I annotated it and the fact that it was witchy, and there were 2 types of witches. Like the main guy was like more like spell casting modern witchiness, and then the main female character was like herbal crystals type of witchiness, you know? That's that on that. That's my wrap up. Let me know how your July reading month went. If you've read any of these books and loved or hated them as much as I did. Which emoji should we use? Let's just do a blue heart emoji to match my Stitch mug if you made it to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope y'all had a great day. Stay safe and stay positive always, and I'll see y'all in my next one. Bye.